Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Mythgard in Middle-earth. My name is Corey Olsen, the Tolkien Professor, joined as always by my friend Gryfflet, who has clearly been spending too much time in the obviously soporific company of Morningstar, the spirit of the Gilrine here, the Maiden of the Gilrine. Really excited today to get back to this quest line, which of course the Epic has brought me to, but which of course the Epic soon takes you away from. And so when I was here before, I was playing with my character Wiggin, who's just running the Epic intermittently, and so I found this quest line, but then kind of made myself leave it behind, which was sad. So have been looking forward to ever since to Gryfflet's getting here. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So we have Roniel, our missing child, who is sleeping. Now, Morningstar has told me to, this is right at the very end last time, I'm supposed to leave pebbles on flat stones. Why am I doing that again? I gotta remember why exactly. See if just give me a number of pebbles, right? She feels a connection to the lands through which the Gilrine flows and has asked you to protect them. Okay, so I'm trying to remember what exactly. I'm trying to remember what exactly those pebbles are meant to accomplish. Exactly. Yeah. I don't remember. Okay. Oh, who's this? Oh, it's a little hawk. That's cute. Okay. Sorry. Didn't see there was a hawk hiding behind a boulder. I was ambushed by a Hendrival. Oh, okay. Then let us sneak down. So we're going to go down river. So where are we? Hang on. I want to see where we are on the map. Okay. So this is... right, that waterfall right there. Let's see if we can... Okay, so the course of the Gilrine is coming down out of the mountains here. But this, basically, that waterfall we were just at is the transition point where the Gilrine comes into... the playable land, basically. So that where we were was functionally, for game purposes, the source of the Gilrine. Okay, and so then we're coming down to the Muir down here, and then the Gilrine, of course, is the river, one of the two rivers that meet and run through Linhir. Exactly. Okay, great. That's great. Hang on a second. One last thing I want to check. What I was wanting to check is... yes, they're not. I was wondering if, on the Gondor map, the rivers were actually labeled, but they aren't. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. No, the hawk is back after me. He's either recovered or sent his relatives to take vengeance, so Gryfflet better make himself scarce. Okay. Meanwhile, Gryfflet is going to enjoy a nice stroll. Wait, what's over there? Plea for aid? Which one is a plea for aid? Place the river stone on a pile of stones. That's like all I'm doing is piling rocks. I've got multiple rock piling quests. 10 Kestel's Riverstone. Oh, that's right. That's the old dude. The old dude, the old crazy dude. Yes. Okay. All right. So her Riverstones, Morningstar's Riverstones. Smoking Charles is wondering why it's so dark. Because it's the dawnless day is why it's so dark. Yeah. It's the dawnless day. Oh, okay, no, that's the wrong pile of rock. Yes, the shadow of Mordor is extended over the land. Okay, hang on a second. Let me try this here. Wait, where's the... I think, Strata, you're pointing out something I don't know about. So there's a history button? Where's the history button? That seems like a thing I should definitely know about. Show history. Ah. Yeah, I never paid attention to that button. Okay, I get the whole bestowal dialogue. That's fantastic. Oh my goodness. This changes my life. How did I never notice that button? Okay. Roamingstar, good. Okay, so not all who come this way have kindness in their hearts. This is so fantastic, because I'm almost incapable of remembering things week to week, so this is hugely helpful. There are those who wish to harm this land, and they will find no welcome from me. Or my sisters. Right. Leave these flat stones. For this small favor, you have the blessing of Gilrine. Okay. Okay. So she doesn't really say. It's this ominous blank. What will happen? I mean, I assume nothing bad's going to happen to me. I'm going to have the blessing of Gilrine, which is great. Yeah. This is such a fun quest line. This, I really admire so much of the world building. I mean, so much makes it sound like I admire about 40%. I so much admire, is what I mean to say, the world building of Lotro. It is, they have done just spectacular work. It reminds me, it puts me in mind, there are a lot of things. Of course, all the, lots of, agita about, the upcoming Rings of Power production. And some of the things that, like, people are saying about it, or questions people are asking, or whatever. Oh, look, she just, like, appears. It's like a hologram. Oh, no. It's like a teleporter. No, she's gone. Wow, she just, like, made an appearance. And then left. Is the point of this that we're bringing her further inland? Like reestablishing her connection to the broader land beyond the banks of the river? Huh. She totally ghosted me, Kendall? Yeah, she really kind of did. Whoa. Interesting. Yeah. So she just like kind of appeared, looked around, and was like, yep, cool. I got this clearing. This clearing back under control. Anyway, here's what I'm talking about. So one of the things that people have been asking me, or like that, because I get a lot of, questions and stuff like that from folks who are anticipating about, and many worried about, the Rings of Power show that's coming up and everything, which I totally understand. And one of the things people will say will be things like, what if they make stuff up? Like, what if they just, like, invent characters that aren't even in the books? Like, what would you think about that? I get people who say things like that to me. Here we go again. Yeah, look around. What do you think? Nice clearing? This is your clearing now. That's it. Okay, here we are, extending the pull of the Gilrine. Interesting, though, that we're only doing it on the one bank. Anyway, so there are two answers to that question in general. Like, what would I think if they like made up characters that aren't in the book at all? The first thing that you have to say is like, you have to do that. I mean, it's almost impossible not to do that. And that is simply because you're translating the story, and even if you're trying to be as faithful as possible, you're translating the story into a different medium, which has different storytelling needs. So, for instance, you can, there's so many for instances I could talk about here, but, there's the rock. Yeah, sorry. Let me give the example. One of the really obvious examples about this, and it's kind of a dangerous example, of course, in its way, is Tauriel from the Hobbit films. Now, what they did with Tauriel's character was unfortunate. That is to say, the very unfortunate, especially very unfortunately executed love triangle plot that they introduced with her. That was not awesome. That was not exciting. But the concept of introducing the character of Toriel is almost necessary. It's almost essential to do. If you think about the Hobbit, and think about the Wood Elves. How many Wood Elf characters are there in the Hobbit? Okay, we meet the butler and the guard in the one scene, right? And only for that one scene. And then there's the Elven King, who's not even named. He's just called the Elven King, right? The Elven King is the only character, again, apart from that one scene, right? The key stealing scene. The Elven King is the only character in the only elf. He's like the representative elf in the story. And within the context of the book, that works perfectly well, right? Because the elves only need the one spokesperson. Right. Again, so apart from the fact that you need somebody to swipe the keys off of and somebody else for him to be talking to while you do it, the narrative of The Hobbit does not need, like, the Elven King can just speak for the elves, because that's generally what you have in the Hobbit story, right? You have, like, Bard and the Elven King and Thorin and Dian, right, as the two dwarf, different dwarf positions. They all kind of need to talk to each other in order to represent their people. You're right, JJ. The barrel elves, we do need elves to push barrels in, but we don't really meet them. We don't really get to know them. Anyway, the point is, in the film, they invent the character of Toriel. Or for the film, they invent the character of Toriel, which makes absolute sense, right? It's like, I think it's almost inescapable that they would do that, because you need somebody else. Right now, you could say, well, they had another character. They had Legolas, the son of the Elven King, who absolutely would have been there, and it makes perfect sense to add him, apart from the fact that you really want Orlando Bloom back, apparently. But there's much more than that. I mean, it makes perfect narrative sense to have Legolas there. But you still only have now the king, and you have the king's son, right? For them to include a character who is a, like, regular elf, right? And you'll notice they combine her character with the character from the book, right? The character of the guard, who had the keys, right? Anyway, like, it's very, it is perfectly sensible. Again, this is the kind of thing you really kind of need to do in a visual adaptation, because you need people for them to talk to. We don't get, like, side conversation, right? And there is not the same focus in the kind of story that The Hobbit is, the kind of narrative that The Hobbit is. There's not the same kind of character development that you really kind of have to have in a feature film, right? So you need, like, other characters to talk to. And I think it was very important, in as much as that film accomplished much. I think it was important for that. I mean, in designing the film, I also would have agreed. I would have said it's really important to establish, like, the elves of Mirkwood, right? The wood elf life, and to give some kind of opposing viewpoint to Thranduil, without just making, Legolas like a cranky teenager who disagrees with his dad all the time. So the invention of a non-royal elf, a Sylvan elf, right? The fact that they tried to show the different distinctions between the Sindar and the Sylvan elf, I give them big props for that. I did not expect them to go that far, and they did. And that if you're going to do it, you're going to make that person a female, because there are no females in The Hobbit except for one, right? That's one of my favorite little trivia questions. I joke about it a lot, so many of you will have heard it before. But you know who the one female character in The Hobbit is, right? There is a female character in The Hobbit. Briefly, you know who the female character in The Hobbit is? Anybody? Answer: the spider Bilbo kills when he wakes up. When he wakes up and his legs have been enclosed with webs by a spider, that spider is female, and that's it. Only female character in the entire only place you see. I was going to say the only place you see two X chromosomes together, but that doesn't really necessarily count with a spider, now does it? Anyway, yeah, it's definitely female. That spider's definitely female, and that's it. No other. There's a vast shortage of X chromosomes in The Hobbit. So yeah, you're gonna make up a character. I mean, like, what possible excuse could there not to be to not make it female? So again, like, when the Hobbit films were coming out and people were like, oh, they've invented this new female elf character, this is horrible, I'm like, No, that's not only horrible. It's not only not horrible, it's like, and it's not even just excusable. It's perfectly logical. You have to do that for the sake of good storytelling. And now what's horrible is the fact, Kendall, I think exactly as you said before, that they bring in this extra female character and they shoehorn her into a love triangle plot. Like, that is horrible and insulting. Anyway, okay, so, sorry, I'm being so rude to Roamingstar, which is such a bad idea. Hang on, Roamingstar, yeah, let's...
years since I cast my eye beyond the banks of the stream.
Ah, yeah, so she was just showing up and looking around, right? When last I did, it only brought grief. It brought only grief. What did you think now? Oh no, I've brought grief a second time. Sadness wells in the deep pools of Roamingstar's eyes, and her words are nearly whispers. An elf maid tarried on the banks of Gilrine, lulled to sleep by the beauty of my song. She sure did. She was reminded of her home, I bet she was, and I delighted in her presence, for my sisters had gone away, and I was filled with loneliness. So was she. But she was needed, and when she awoke, the delay had cost her the life of her love. Oh, that's how we're playing this. He was an elf lord and a prince, Amroth by name, of course, and he waited for her, but she never came. He died believing she was lost forever, and when she awoke, it was he who was lost. Roamingstar's words trail away into silence. After a moment, the girl Roniel stirs. Oh, sorry, Roniel, I'm like practically standing on you here. Sorry, dawnless day. It's a little hard to see. Hey, Roniel.
Oh, hello. Are you a friend of my mother?
Yes, I am. I am a friend of your mother. Acquaintance. I'll be a really good acquaintance pretty soon. I was separated from her during the fighting. I ran, and at some point I dropped my doll, but then I was just so tired and fell asleep. I think I had a lovely dream, but I cannot remember much of it now. I suppose it is time to return to Linhir. Do you think it's safe? Tell my mother I'm on the way home. Of course I know, Mornio. I'll tell her you're on your way home. Maybe... I was just going to say maybe I should escort you. And then I had a second thought. Maybe you should come on your own. That might be safer in the long run. Okay. Yes, Amroth is in the High Elf intro. Amroth would have been at the Battle of the Last Alliance. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, JJ. I knew you would be opposed to Gryfflet escorting plot crucial characters. Okay, I'm gonna go see. Thank you, Morningstar. I'm gonna talk to you again soon. Let's talk about the Gilrine in a moment here. Anyway, just to finish up my little digression about adding characters. Of course, it's even more important. The thing that so many people don't understand, or like just don't really think through when you're doing an adaptation. What needs, in order to do it well, what you have to be willing to do is add to the story. Like, you are not just, when you're doing an adaptation, you're not just taking what's in the book and somehow like projecting it into the new medium, whether you're making a film or whether you're making a game, right? That can't happen. It's not possible. So what you have to do, what you have to be willing to do, in my mind, what makes a good adaptation? Like, this is like okay, one of the two there among the elements which make a good adaptation. No, so seriously, the first number one thing, of course, is that it has to be a good story on its own. Like, even not even thinking about the original. Like, if it does not work and is not a compelling story internally, even for someone who's never read the original, it's a failure, right? But the second most important thing is how well it does in not just taking and projecting, somehow transmitting what's there. That's really important. The elements that are there, that's really important, but there's much more to it than that, right? You're gonna have to do extra stuff. You're gonna have to extend the boundaries of the story, especially with this kind of adaptation, right? With the kind of adaptation that you have in Lotro, where the story is very, well, it's not very linear. It kind of jumps around a bit, but there's not a whole lot of like sightseeing, right? The quest goes to certain places, and there are certain places it does not go, right? Whereas, you're making the game, and here you've got the whole map, which I actually right-click one too many times on, and here you've got this whole map. And in the game world, right, you're building this world where people can travel anywhere and do anything, way beyond where the scope of the narrative goes. So the mandate to invent stuff becomes an essential element. But how do you do it, right? How do you do that successfully and stay true to the source text, right? The question of like being faithful to the original means something completely different than a lot of people think, right? When they think about that kind of thing with adaptation, it just becomes a really different proposition when you're making a game like this, especially a game as big and sweeping as Lotro. And they've done such a wonderful job. I just love the Lotro adaptation. Here I am, celebrate 15th anniversary, right? Oh man, and that it would last for 15 years. So amazing. So I'm going to put, hey, a mysterious woman appears at the water's edge. Boy, you're kind of underselling what's happening here. She's not just at the water's edge. She's near the water's edge. Hi there. She's not really that mysterious. I'm supposed to kneel. Okay, how about I do that? Hi, Morningstar. We've met already, but I'm gonna... yeah. She looks as if she wishes to say something, but remains silent. Hi. As you attempt to introduce yourself to the woman, she stands silent with the water lapping at her feet. Under her feet. Her visage is that of an amused smile as she turns and beckons you into the mirror. Okay, we can't all do that, though. Alright, I'll follow you more wetly. Okay. This is, awesome. Hey, whoa! Gah! Oh, dear. I'm back to the soporific spot. Woof! Boy, usually blacking out in the middle of a lake doesn't end so well. I am a most interesting one? Well, thank you. I know why you have sought me, but the time has not yet come for that. This is no dream of yours. I have ferried you here to speak far away from those that might wish to do you harm. You are not of this land, and much still remains beyond your grasp. Very true. I have brought you here because I sense goodness within you, Hobbit. You seek an end to the conflict that ravages my lands and burdens my people, as do I. Few still hold sincere beliefs in my sisters, and fewer still have looked upon me in many long years. Of those that did, one came to regret it, and I feel the shame still. Really? Okay, now the other story I was anticipating, this one I was not. Now these wounds lay bare. As the men from Umbar pollute and defile my lands, my waters can heal their destruction, but I cannot do this alone. Okay, hang on. These wounds lay bare. The wounds of her memory? Her shame and regret that she feels? No, that the person felt who looked upon her last. Huh. Okay. My waters can heal their destruction, but I cannot do this alone. Aid me, and I shall aid you in turn. I am happy to partner her with the Maiden of the Gilrine. Although there are few that believe my sisters and I still dwell in these lands, they have always strived to care for our lands and our rivers. These men from Umbar, they do not honor these lands as others do. They defile, they steal, and they dishonor for no greater purpose than their own gain. For their own sartorial ends. Soon they shall levy their destruction against my waters as well, but already they have taken from my people. Those that still believe pay tribute to me and my sisters with baskets. They float down my waters, but the men have claimed those too. Oh man, I do not know what drives them, be it greed or spite, but they must be punished for the harm done to those that honor us. Okay, so I gotta defeat vandals, recover tribute baskets. Okay. All right. I can do this. However snappily dressed they may be, they shall not be allowed to get away with this. Okay. So Gryfflet is going to... They were right nearby, right? Yeah. What's the wounded glade? Search for a bucket? Huh. I remember getting that one. But I can search for a bucket. Near the mirror. Okay. Alright. Sorry. Briefly confused. But, so here's the thing. I want to talk about Amroth and Nimrodel. Nimrodel, of course, was the maiden in the epic quest there. Nimrodel is the maiden that she was talking about, which I was hoping we would get some Nimrodel references. And I remember when I said, oh, that's how they've played it? So we just were looking at this. These are the dudes I'm looking for, right? Yeah. We were just looking at this last night. No, night before last, as we discussed the last chapter of the... Oops, sorry there. The last chapter of the nature of Middle-earth. We've been discussing the nature of Middle-earth. Oh, there's a cute little basket. We're discussing the nature of Middle-earth, and the last chapter of that is some selections, some not published selections of the... oops, sorry. What's going on here? Of the essay that Tolkien wrote, sort of an essay, that thing that Tolkien wrote called Of the Rivers and Beacon Hills of Gondor. I say that thing because, of course, like a lot of what Tolkien wrote, calling it an essay is like a little bit true in the sense that it's, man, Gryfflet is not covering himself with glory in his stealth today. Anyway, it's like a lot of what Tolkien wrote in being almost perfectly spontaneous, right? Like what actually happened. He didn't set out to... I'm going to write an essay on the rivers and Beacon Hills of Gondor. What actually happened was a dude asked him a question in a letter, I mean, about the meaning of a name. And this got him thinking. So he started writing stuff. Oh, the little swan baskets. Oh, that's adorable. Oh, that is so fetching. I love that. I can see why why Morningstar, Spirit of the Gilrine, would be disappointed to lose this, but she has a whole collection. Okay. I should probably stop attacking solo ones. Oh, there you are, around the tree. Anyway, so he answers that question, and then of course he's Tolkien, right? So he's like, and that makes me think of other things, and so he begins to write etymological discussions of all of the names of the rivers of Gondor. You know, they're especially, of course, you know, he talks about the five, and he, you know, and he has like all these different like different kinds of explanations for each one, and then he goes on to do the same thing for the Beacon Hills, just because, right? Because he's Tolkien and loves doing that kind of thing. So, well, okay, there's a reason I can't see any in that direction. I'm looking for one more basket, right? You know, let's see if I can burglariously steal the basket without alerting the people. Let's see. I doubt it, because it unstealths me. Maybe. Let's see. That would be burglarious. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was slick, Gryfflet. Now stealth up and get out of there. Kendall, I think you're right. I think it's those gorgeous blue banners in the baskets that doomed them, right? Because the Corsairs were like, that would make a darling cummerbund, right? And they just couldn't resist, right? I'm sure that's what happened. Oh, anyway, I need a bucket. Where's it? There's a bucket like right here. Oh. There's a bucket on the other side of the river here. Look, a random free bucket. Work to heal the glade with the water of the Glanduin? Okay. Of the Gilrine, not the Glanduin. Glanduin is in Eriador, for crying out loud. I was thinking of the Glanduin because I was thinking about the essay. Oh, wolf attack! Do I splash water on it? Is this where I'm supposed to? No, probably not. Okay. That's fine. Okay, so I seriously don't remember getting this quest. I mean, it's obviously my problem, but is this because this is not the epic quest? So it can't be the one where she was saying, like, I was saddened to see, like, what happened in these glades. Weird. Anyway, but oh no, that's not the glade I'm supposed to. Oh, it's the. It's part of the. I'm supposed to be healing, like, what, the wounds that the Corsairs left or something? Okay. Let's do that. Nimmerdell, though. Nimmerdell. That's what I was trying to talk about. So, yeah, this is my long build-up, still talking about the rivers and beacon hills of Gondor. So, in the course of this essay, right, which we'll all carry on calling an essay, even though it's just like, you know, a Tolkien getting carried away and having fun with etymology. But he gets to the Gilrine, right? And the first thing, of course, he points out is that Gilrine, the river, looks a lot like Gilrine, the mother of Aragorn, right? That was Aragorn's mom's name. And so, oh man, now I've got to stealthily water the earth. That's one approach to watering, Gryfflet. I was kind of imagining something a little more like gardening-esque, you know, something a little bit less, a little bit more gardener, less fireman, you know. But they'll, you know, water the earth. Whoosh, you just chuck the bucket. Yeah, I like it. Now, but wait, now I don't have to refill it. The bucket that I found is a bottomless, never-ending bucket of Gilrine water. Okay. Anyway, all right. So I was back to Gilrine. Whoa! Hey, we're running. Okay. Where am I going? I'm going up here. Okay. And this guy's guarding it anyway, so that's fine. I'll take you both together. Oh, look, the other guy chickened out anyway. That was disappointing in him. Very disappointed in you. Okay. It's a never-ending bucket of water. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Okay. Hey, Foe the Thought Police. That's a great question. We were just talking about this on Wednesday, actually, in Other Minds and Hands. I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me try to cut to the chase. Gilrine. Basically, so Gilrine is the name of Aragorn's mom, and Gilrine is the name of the river. But of course, the two things have no connection to each other. Tolkien loves this kind of thing, right? It might seem like Gilrine and Gilrine the same thing, right? Like she's named after the river. You might think Aragorn's mom is named after the river, but oh no. No. That is not at all how it happens. And you can tell on account of her name is spelled Gilrine, Gilraen,
And the river, of course, is Gilrain. These words look very similar, and they are spelled alike. Or, I mean, they're spelled very similarly. They're not spelled alike. They sound alike, is what I was saying, is what I meant to say. So yeah, they look very similar. They sound exactly identical. But of course, in discussing the etymology, Tolkien goes on to say, oh yeah, this totally unrelated, right? A Gilrain, A-E-N, like Aragorn's mom, that name, Gilrain. That means, like that headdress thing that Arwen is wearing when we meet her in the Fellowship of the Ring. She's wearing this like really fancy hairnet that has gems on it. That's a Gilrain, turns out, right? So that's what Aragorn's mom's name means, and this is important. This is not just like vanity. It's not like her name is, like Tiara or something like that. It's not just. It's not an embarrassing name at all, or like a frou-frou name. It's the name. It's significant because he turned around and I still one-shotted him. Oh man, that was humiliating for him. I mean, anyway, it's significant because, as he explains, and as we learned in The Nature of Middle-earth for the first time, a Gilrain of that kind, right, that kind of treasure or hairdress, is, but I think I've missed every single war-torn earth pile with my bucket of never-ending water every single time. But that's okay. Fortunately, the quest is very forgiving. Okay. Well, anyway, it's significant because only elf princesses like Arwen wear those, except for like queens and the high ladies of the line of Elros among the Dunedain, and it's like an outward sign of their birth, of their kinship, essentially, with the elves. So it's kind of a reminder, the fact that Arwen wears exactly the same kind of headdress as Aragorn's mom would have worn, and her name is named after, is a sort of a reminder of the two branches of the half-elven coming back together here at the end of the Third Age. But anyway, okay, so that's what Gilrain with an E means, but Gilrain with an I, totally different, completely different. And the R-A-N ending is from the Sindarin root Ron, which is the same thing as in Mithrandir. We learn, like the Grey Wanderer, the Ron in Mithrandir, which, the one who wanders around. So it means like, a person who is adrift and wandering. And the story, the legend behind how the River Gilrain got its name is from Nimrodel. That when Nimrodel she got lost, right? She came south, planning to set out and sail over the sea, and she got lost. She wandered and got lost and ended up near here. But that's like it's a potential story, right? So he's not real clear about it, right? He says there are like legends in Gondor that happened, but like the jury's still out as to like what, because it's pretty unclear what happened with the Nimrodel story, because all we get is like hearsay and whatever. So fascinating that they really chose to run with that right here in Lotro. Roamingstar is telling us quite authoritatively, this is not just a rumor, from the residents who are telling tales of long ago, legends of long ago. This is Roamingstar, the eyewitness, telling us Nimrodel definitely did stay here. And the role that she gives that into the tragedy, right, that it was Nimrodel getting lost and being here, like her remaining by the stream, which tragically led to the death of Amroth, who thought that she wasn't coming, right? And that, of course, is the story we get. Legolas tells that version of the story, right? Amroth diving from the ship and drowning ultimately, right, in the bay. But what became of Nimrodel is, in Legolas's song, left a mystery, right? And so Roamingstar is here telling us of that mystery, which is really cool. Okay. I have performed various tasks for you, Roamingstar. I've done well to heal the wounds of men. These outsiders have no love for our lands or the people within, and will not stop until it all lies wilted and dead. But I shall do all I can to hold them back from the innocent. And all I have witnessed, few other times have come with such destruction and bloodshed. Let us hope that this one shall soon come to an end. Totally legit, Roamingstar. You're right about that. Sorry, what she's right about is that there are actually very few reasons to think that war like this has come to this area often before. Minas Tirith has been involved in many different battles and kinds of battles, but this has been a real peaceful spot in Gondor. There has not been much war down here. Up, but I mean, you know, Minas Ithil, Minas Anor, Osgiliath, right up there, bunch of war in the greater Mordor area, right? But down here, this far away from Mordor, not so much. So she's right. I mean, this is one of the biggest kind of invasions, and one of the first times this area is going to have been sullied by blood in this way. Okay. These men repulse me. They dishonor me and my people, and cannot be allowed to hold sway over our waters. Roamingstar is not into you, Corsairs. I hope that soon all of their number are gone from these lands, and that I can return to the Gilrine in peace. Okay, what do you say? Oh, what do I say? Long ago, though, through my curiosity alone, I caused 2 lovers' hearts to be broken upon the western shores. Wasn't your fault. Really, you couldn't have known, Roamingstar. I have been troubled by this for many ages, and it was not long after that my sadness compelled me to hide myself away from the folk of these lands. Oh, so it was Nimrodel whose regret she was talking about before. I'm being dense. Yet evil has come to these lands in great force, and I hold the power to change the fates of my people. If I fail to act this day, I shall suffer a sadness far beyond my knowing. I love how she's really adopted the Gondorian people, calls them her people, right? That's not a given, and that's really interesting. You spoke of the dead and their plan to reunite with their master. That shall not be. Oh, man. Roamingstar, laying down the law for the Ruthless Dead. My waters will consume them, but my waters will consume them. Oh, that's fabulous. That is genius! Genius! Because, of course, Tolkien had this thing with the running water, right? So many of you will be aware of, like, folktale or fairy tale traditions where, like, the dead can't cross running water. You see it in Dracula, right? It's a big deal. And many other, like, myths and legends. Of course, Dracula, you know, Bram Stoker himself was also, like, very interested in that kind of folklore and those traditional stories. Tolkien was very interested in those legends as well, and one of the places where that comes up most often, right, where that's a big deal, or where Tolkien was kind of toying with making it a big deal, was with the Nazgul, right? He wanted the Nazgul to have a running water problem, right? In the end, he had to kind of compromise on this a little bit, because, as Christopher Tolkien says, the Nazgul could not possibly get to the Shire without crossing a whole bunch of rivers along the way. So he couldn't exactly give them the inability to cross running water, or else, you know, they would have had to fly. It would have been really complicated, very difficult, possibly impossible for them to get into the Shire at all. So he had to ease back on his desire to have the Nazgul incapable of crossing running water. But of course, he got his own back with a vengeance when he did the flooding of the Bruinen, right? So let's make this, you know, defeat for the time, but a significant defeat of the Nazgul be by running water, right, with the flood of the Bruinen. So the antipathy between the dead and running water, that running water is this sort of force of good that has a very definite effect on the spirits of evil is a thing that Tolkien really, really liked. So that it is genius of the Lotro developers to take this. How are you going to fight the dead? What could you possibly do? Answer, have the rivers do it, right? If the rivers themselves fight against the dead, there is no way. The dead are going to be helpless. Howsoever ruthless they might be, they're going to be helpless against the waters of the Gilrine. That is awesome. Total genius. Love it. And I'm happy to help out Roamingstar howsoever I can. None shall threaten the folk of my lands. Ooh, we're instancing. Fabulous.
Roamingstar, the fabled sister of the Gilrine, hopes to atone for her past mistakes by using her influence over the rivers of Gondor to banish the Ruthless Dead from her lands forever.
Whose voice is that? Is that Halberud? I'm thinking because we got Halberud for a lot of Volume 3. Is that who's doing the voiceover in the instances here? It's not Aragorn, is it? I don't think so. It sounded like Halberud. That's interesting. Okay, hang on. Where are we? Oh, okay. There's a waterfall over there. What am I looking at? What? No, seriously, what am I looking at? There's a little Gondorian. Did I miss that? Anyway, sorry, Roamingstar, don't want to be rude here. Go ahead. I feel a chill at the water's edge. The dead move to cross the river, and they must not be allowed to pass into Lebanon. You are known to them, but I am not. If you can drive them back from the river's edge and lure them to the mere, I shall ensure that they will only find peace far from these lands. Should they dare to cross the Gilrine, then, even I do not know what will become of them, but they shall never reach the far banks. I can grant you safety in my waters, but if you stray from the Gilrine, I cannot protect you from the dead. Okay. Okay. Ooh. I've got... I'm supposed to go down to the mirror. Okay. So we're going... Ooh, look at that! Yikes. Hope of 10. Oh. Whoa. Man, she's booking it. All right, here we go. We're going. We're running. The dead shall not trouble the living. Whoa. Yeah. Bring it on, guys. Do your worst. Hope of 10. Yeah. Forget about it. You got nothing. Neither do you. So I'm supposed to not let them cross, right? Death has found you. Oh, well, no, the dead have found me, but I've got news for you, Mr. Mountain folks. Okay. I continue your pursuit of Roamingstar. Okay. By the way, Roamingstar. Let me close the loop on my etymology thing. Roamingstar is an English translation of Gilrine. Gil, of course, means star. And Rhine, R-A-I-N, means wandering, roaming. So Gilrine literally means Roamingstar. It's a translation of the name of the river. Very, very cool. So many, like, deep Tolkien Easter eggs in this quest line. Very neat. You just have to love it when people who do adaptations like this do their homework like this, you know? It warms the heart. It really does. And, like, needless to say, none of you, even if you've been playing Lotro for substantially less than 15 years, will be surprised, of course, to discover that the Lotro devs have been doing their homework. They've been living their homework for Decade and a half now. Nerzus! Wherever I turn, no matter how far I travel, you are always there. You better believe it. This time I am powerless? Oh, ha! We'll sleep across a bend like a tide of fear until we rejoin our master. The waters of this river are strange and have kept you from your fears, but nothing so... oh, sorry. The waters of Gilrine are more powerful than you know, Oathbreaker. That's right. Who is this that dares to speak? Oh, Nerzus, you are so out of your depth, so to speak, you don't even know. I need not dare. I am the Maiden of the Gilrine. The waters of this river answer to none but me. What power does water have over the dead? Funny you should ask that. I was just talking about that. O Gilrine, the ceaseless tears of the wandering star. Swell and flood o'er the men who bear Isildur's scar. To the haunted mountain top I banish you, foul shades. Evermore bound within to the oath you twice betrayed. Nice. Oh, sweet. Ah, the feeble curses of Nerzus. Oh, yeah. Tell your cursed brethren of what awaits those who dare to cross my waters. You are not welcome among the living. I like how they all go scattering. Wow. It would have been even better if they were all running around in circles. That was fantastic, Roamingstar. You have done well this day. The people of my lands have far less to fear now, and I speak not only of the defeat of the dead. Your presence has changed the fate of the war here in Gondor, and I shall ever watch over your deeds in the east. Well, thanks. Let us return to my glade. Yeah, let's do it. Oh, yeah, that was awesome. Love it. She banished me with poetry. It is done. It feels to me as if a great weight has been lifted from this land, but I sense that many more troubles await you. Return to my people and tell them of what has happened this day. I shall tend these waters as I always have and strike down any dead who dare to approach my banks again. You shall always be welcome at my side. Awesome, Roamingstar. I hope to meet some of your sisters as well. I think I keep accidentally almost calling her Morningstar. Roamingstar, of course. Yeah. The injuries were bad enough without her making it verse, JJ. Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Okay. All right, Carrie Ann, I'm going to put my hat on, and I'm going to go back to... Yep. All right, I'll tell your mom you're coming, Roniel. Great to meet you, Roamingstar. Almost did it again. Great to meet you, Roamingstar. Oh, man, that was fantastic. So, in case you're wondering... So, back on the subject of, like, hey, they made stuff up, right? Let me answer the question. So, you ask, what possible justification can there be for inventing a character, not just inventing a character, but inventing a character like that, right? In a game like this, right? In Tolkien's world. Why would we think that there would be a Maiden of the River who, would exert power like that and be able to do that kind of thing? Is this reasonable? Is this too far-fetched? What's going on here? And the answer is yes, it's totally reasonable. This kind of thing happens all the time. We don't meet many of them very often. Of course, Goldberry is one. We know that Goldberry is the daughter of the river. There are spirits like this in locations in Middle-earth, it seems, lots of the time. There are other references. There are some references that we still see within the Lord of the Rings as it stands. There are other places that Tolkien cut as he went through. where he was showing that there are more of them. So the idea that the natural world is full of these kinds of spirits who sometimes can manifest and take actions, that's a totally Tolkienian idea. Very much in keeping with how Tolkien has described his world and how he's built his stories. So yeah, totally legit. This is the same reason I really loved the Red Maid in Garth Garwin way back in the day, right? Back in the Lone Lands. I think it's excellent. And I loved the interaction with Goldberry and Tom Bombadil, his involvement there. That was really cool. Just loved that stuff. And this is a very logical extension. And the fact that Tolkien spent so much time, like through his discussion of the, rivers and beacon hills of Gondor, he spent so much time kind of thinking about these rivers and their names, and they inspired a whole bunch of stories, right? Like him working more out on the story of Amroth and Nimrodel, right? For instance, makes it really natural that that they would go here, and I think a lot of fun. I love the way also that there's another thing, and this to me is one of the real signs of just a brilliant quest line, a brilliant adaptation concept in Lotro, when they basically are kind of spinning off an idea that's there, right? Maybe in a different place, but it's there, and they can kind of take it and sort of settle down and live there, right? And here I'm thinking about the old wives' tales comments, right? Remember Celeborn's comment, and I think we were alluding to this last week, that sometimes old wives hold in memory things that it was good once for the wise ones to know. That and of course that motif, like that idea of traditional beliefs and concepts that have been lost or have been, if not necessarily lost, have been discredited over time, right? That the modern people have drifted away from these traditional ideas that were good for them to know. Of course, that comes back dramatically in the Athalas moment, right? In the Houses of Healing, so that the Lotro storytellers would decide to do that similar thing, to inject that similar trend here in Central Gondor. I think gorgeous idea, just a gorgeous idea. So kind of combining all those things together, really, really neat. Okay. You found her, Mornell, no longer weeping.
Has returned, but she had an unusual story to tell.
She does, yeah. I did find her. Well, I mean, she'd already been found. She had an unusual story to tell, and I must say I'm not sure I can believe it. Roniel says she met the river maiden of the Gilrhine, but she is just a legend, is she not? One of Linhir's traditions involves floating reed baskets on the stream in honor of such a creature, but I did not really believe in the existence of the Five Sisters. Is Roniel making up a story? She must be. I often say that I someday want to read a story where a child sees some kind of supernatural phenomenon, tells the adults, and the adults all implicitly believe them, right? I guess we kind of get that in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, right? The kind of the shock that that Professor Kirk does not dismiss the story that Lucy's story that Peter and Susan come to talk about, but yes, the motif of just because a child sees it, that means it's unreliable, is sometimes a little frustrating to me.
But I can convince her.
Good. I'm sure you can. She sets a small pebble on the edge of the fountain. Whoop! That's convincing. That's fun, Ronio. That's awesome. Okay. I see that Ronio has found her way safely home. I am pleased I was able to restore some measure of happiness to the world. Okay. What do you say about that, Ronio? Smug and satisfied. There we go. Now, what do you think, Mornil? Can it be? I did not think so.
Still existed in this world.
Oh, yeah, I didn't expect voiceover for that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, awesome. Okay, everybody else is like, yeah, we're not paying attention. But see, there you go. It's just typical, isn't it? Very cool. That's fantastic. Okay, Garvir. Big doings here. Big doings. Yeah, I fixed the useless barriers. Yeah, the less said about that, the better, I think. Now that our defenses are prepared and the men again hold their posts, I believe us ready for the coming battle.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
You don't have time to hear that the Lady of the Gilrine is coming to your defense? You just want to talk about it later. I'm disappointed in you, Garvir. You disappoint me. Erkar, you've already disappointed me, so what's the worst that could happen?
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
You've returned to us just in time. We have heard the horns and shouts of the Corsairs and Haradrim in the distance. They come again for Linhir, and I doubt there shall be a host of spirits to drive them off this time. Well, no, I took care of the host of spirits, and they wouldn't have helped. I fear this shall be no short battle, for your efforts on the coast have surely raised their ire. When you are ready, we shall take the western gates, and my brothers shall guard the entrance to Lebanon. My brothers, plural. Ready your arms! Okay. All right, now I got half an hour. We're still good. Erkar, let's do it. Okay. So I was gonna foe the thought police. I'll try during the battle to address your comment, which, as I said, I was just talking about this on Wednesday, so it's very fresh in my mind. And the question is:
Dolgimil, the Corsair and Haradrim invaders of Dor and Erniel, make ready to siege Linhir once more and slay its people as retribution.
Oh, we're not going to let that happen. Ooh, I'm the hero of Dor and Erniel? Dor and Erniel? Really? Did I complete the quest deed? Oh. I did. Look at that. Okay. I guess that tracks because we're pretty much done with this area, right? No more outstanding quests. And I'll be headed to Lebanon after this, I suppose. They're upon us.
Times indeed.
We've held them thus far, but our lines are weakening. Swiftly, we must defend the gates. Oh boy, neither Erkar nor Harion must be defeated. They're going to be a handful. We've broken their numbers to the north, at least for the moment. Yet the Corsairs still throw themselves at our western gate. We must hold out as long as we are able, for their forces close on us from all sides. Don't leave the gate, maybe, guys. What do you say? Erkar, their numbers are thinning, but they still have a lot of fight in them. My men and I are wounded and must fall back to defend the innocents near the keep. Hold the line. I shall send more men to your aid as soon as I am able. Okay. All right, let's go. No, don't run away. See, that's what happens when you run away. Uh-oh. 3 well-dressed gentlemen. Hey! That was so rude, but actually I don't mind. Now I can just get positional advantage on you, so you will soon regret turning your backs on Gryfflet, I can tell you. Oh, you turn around now, but it's too late. We good, Erkar? They press the assault, we must hold. Maybe not, maybe closer to the... No, we're not. We're just going to hold from here. Okay. We're holding from here. I kind of expected a charge forward, Erkar, but, you know... Boy, they really get inside each other's personal space. I mean, there's teamwork, and then there's teamwork, guys. I mean, seriously. Look to the west. To the west? That's the east. Oh, the west. Okay, right. Okay, what's Gryfflet? 3 levels up now? Yeah, standing, it's true on here that standing in the middle of the courtyard is not really very defensible. But then again, neither are these gates. I mean, I would recommend, and this, look, I'm not a professional or anything, right? I'm just a hobbit from the Shire, what do I know? But I would suggest that maybe lowering the portcullises might be a move, right? That you want to consider when you're trying to prevent invaders. It's just, I think some have found it effective in the past. You cannot take joy in, what, the thinning of their numbers? We have lost so many. Shall anyone else take up arms to aid us? Yeah. Hey, look. Your brother needs your aid by the river. Oh, yeah, let's go down by the river.
Troublesome times indeed.
My men here shall hold the line. We must go to Harrion's aid at once. Agreed. Where are we going? Okay. Here we go. Yeah, shut the portcullis. You know. You fear more trouble lies ahead. Don't jump. Harrion, don't jump. Ah, brother, at last you have come. Men and half-trolls have broken through the gate and pour in from Lebanon. Oh dear. Look, across the way, Garvir fights with spirit, but he cannot hold long by himself. Maybe we should help him. We must reach him before it is too late.
How may I help you, friend?
Garvir and I were separated by a sudden rush of Haradrim through the east gate. I was pushed back, and now all my men have fallen. I will not see him fight alone. We must reach him. Agreed. That's right, we gotta go all the way around. Okay, here come the reinforcements. We were foolish to tarry so long on the fields. We should have been ready for the assault. Garvir should not have to suffer for our folly. Yeah, I know. Well, there was plenty of folly to go around, I'm just saying. We've caught them at unawares. They don't look unawares to me. I'll go take out the archer. Okay, you guys got the other dudes? No, of course you don't. It's okay, fortunately, I am here to help. There we go, guys. Okay. You guys are both heavily armored. At least maybe you can... Yep, there was indeed, you are correct, another portcullis there, but, oh. Sorcerer. Yeah, why don't I... Sorcerer who's just whacking me with a stick, fortunately. He forgot to... It's easy to forget that you can do sorcery. Sometimes you overlook it. Uh-oh. Did you hear the rumble of half-troll feet? Oh, it's another stick whacker. I mean sorcerer. Aren't you going to do any sorcery? No. Oh, half-trolls. Look at these guys. Okay. He's a brute, huh? He is the brute squad. Oh, they're both attacking me? Inconsiderate. But that's okay. Okay, alright. We will not allow Garvir to come to harm. Maybe the sorcerer used all of his power opening the portcullis. I bet you, yes, he is exerting his power to hold the portcullises closed. I'm sure that that's what happened. Okay, where are we supposed to be? We're finding Garvir. All these other chumps we leave to their own devices. Okay, well, I gotta keep you chumps alive, so... is that... No. Uh-oh. Garvir's getting kicked up there. We're just going to stand there and let this happen? It's Azgarzôr. Seriously? We're just going to stand here? Look, they're kicking he's kicking Garvir here. Is anybody going to initiate something? Can I? Hi, Hardger Moormaster. Okay. Something happened. Curse you. Speak true. It was you that slew Dolgimil, worm. No, I wasn't. Were it only that I had enough men to slay Linhir to the last. But they now sail on the coast, and when they are mine, the coasts are... Anyway, let the shadow of my vengeance weigh upon you and your kin wherever you go. You're just going to sit down? What, did they just kick him into the river? Well, if only you hadn't stood there staring at him for all this time. You are fortunate indeed that I came only for him. Yet, when the scourge claims Pelargir, I shall return and claim Linhir as my home. You shall not find me so merciful then. Let the loss of one of your brothers wound you as the loss of Dolgimil and Azruthor has wounded me. May his death leave you undone. Do I not get the chance to confess? May his death leave you undone. Oh, man. Look, no two Gondorian soldiers are not on fire. Okay. Man, I wanted to confess and challenge him. At least I get his War Master. But Garvir was kicked into the river. Maybe he'll be saved at the last moment. We have friends in the river. Maybe Garvir will believe then. Woohoo! Oh, what a climactic leveling up. I don't want to join the anniversary event now. Okay. All right, Erkar. No. There we go.
Gondor needs your aid.
Curse him and all of his inbred men. I shall see him slain. That's it. Wait. We're not gonna get to... we're not gonna find his body? We're not gonna... Okay. I'll be patient. I'll be patient. Erkar, I really think you ought to look for his body.
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
He had the best mind of us all for how to approach battle, and I allowed him to fall. I should have been there. I should have... Erkar trails off, obviously overcome. You have done much for my brothers and I, my friend, and I have but one thing to ask of you. Okay. Will I accept a gleaming bracelet of the prince? No, but a polished bracelet. Yes. Yes, I will. We hold Linhir because of you, but we have lost far too much in the fight to hold it. I have sent my remaining guards to search for Garvir, but I hold little hope that he will be found. I don't. Either the current has taken him out to the bay, or his plate armor drew him down to the riverbed, or he was saved at the last minute. I blame myself for his loss, and I curse myself for not seeing the folly of rushing out into the fields of battle with so few in my command. The war rages on in Lebanon. This much is clear to me now. Travel to the settlement of Sarnhad, due east of the south gate of Linhir, and see if you can aid the people there. Harian and I shall renew Linhir's defenses while you aid the folk of Lebanon. And Gryfflet, should you find the scarlet-garbed man who slew Garvir in Lebanon, I shall not be denied the chance to run him through. Are you warning me? Are you warning me, like, not to kill him or else you'll come for me? Whoa. Do you have repeatables? Whoa. Okay. You've got roving threats.
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
No. Thank you.
This
Mired in filth.
darkness is a weight on my mind.
Okay, so these are repeatables. Defeat Corsairs polluting the Gilrine. Okay. Guardian.
This darkness is a weight
Since
on my
Azgarzôr's assault on Linhir, all has been quiet. Neither Corsair nor Haradrim have dared to attack our walls, but still I cannot find comfort in this. Many of their forces still patrol the lands outside Linhir, and I am certain they will renew their assault soon. Okay. If any Corsairs would strike against us, I believe it would be those that sacked Ethelorn. I would ask that you patrol Linhir's gates, then look to Ethelorn from the overlook on the south of our city. Tell me what you discover. I hope we shall be granted peace for even one day more. Okay. I don't mind doing the repeatables once. I've never done these, so... Whoa. Man. They just... First they send me away, and then they explode with quests. Far to the west, the enemy holds a camp on our beaches. West. I don't want to go far to the west. We cannot allow this intrusion to stand. Langboha? I already defeated Langboha. No, that one I did. I mean, I didn't do that quest, but I did that thing.
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
I've heard talk of more violence on the northwest. Our scouts lead us to believe that the Corsairs have seized Dol Branor, one of our south beacons. Okay, that I haven't done. They cannot be allowed to hold such advantage. Travel to Dol Branor. Okay. That I can do. And Splintered Light.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
I still cannot believe what was done to the Barad Rill. It was one of the prince's most beautiful towers, and it shone light for all who would sail the great river. The Corsairs and Haradrim seek to wrest it from us, but I will not see it done. Travel to Barad Rill, plant a banner of Belfalas atop its ruins, steal away our relics from those vile men. Fine.
This
Yeah,
darkness
no, this is the one I do want to
is
do.
a weight
So,
on my mind.
which one is the non-repeatable that I want to make sure to do? Is it the blinding the enemy one? Okay, I think all you've got left are that one I don't want to do and the roving threat ones. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Splintered Light is a name to conjure with. Indeed. I still feel bad leaving Garvir behind. Okay, all right, that's the camp. That's the beacon up there. All right, fine. I'll go to the beacon. All right, I'll do these, and then I'll be heading into Lebanon next time. All right. Well, while I do some of these local quests here, yeah, I want to make sure I don't miss the. Hang on. The Where's the Body quest. Ingalad, what say you?
Linhir is in your debt.
You did a very good thing. Oh. What thing? Oh, finding Roniel. Yeah, sure.
There is one more thing.
I know you must continue on your mission to Pelargir, and I will not delay you, but there is one more thing. I have heard that an old man of the city, Yoron by name, may have fallen into some madness. He has been hooting and cheering for the past few hours, and folk are afraid he may do some hurt to himself. He's dangerously happy. I would be grateful if you checked on him and ensured he is of sound mind and no danger to himself or others. You will find him south of here. Once you have satisfied yourself he has not succumbed to madness, continue on to Pelargir with my thanks and my family's. I think he might have other reasons. He might have other reasons for cheerfulness. Maybe, there's just like reason to be cheerful and stuff. It could happen. Okay. Oh, so just, we're good now. This is fine. Okay. What quest was that? Oh. Alright. Patrol Linhir's gates. To Lebanon. No, that's the other one. Okay. Well, that's alright. So I'm gonna I'm going to clear some filth. I mean, I owe it to Roamingstar to do that, obviously. Okay. I need friend standing for that quest? What? All right, hang on a second. Let's check this out then. Where do we stand? With the Men of Dora and Erno? Only an acquaintance. Well, let me complete these quests and see how we do. I need 10,000? Might have to do the repeatables for crying out loud. Oh, no. Okay, well. All right. I'm willing to do a little rep grinding if that's what's needed in order to get cool quests. I'm just saying. Like, I'm in it for the quests. So that is not too high a price to pay. Even apart from the fact that, like, as a completionist, it appeals to me. But okay, hang on. So what am I doing here? I'm clearing filth. Oh, I saw some of that filth and was wondering, those are like those black tarry patches along the edge, right? I was wondering about that because it did not look right. Okay, Foe the Thought Police, let me come back to your, oh no, not quest items here. Oh, rep items, yeah. Yeah, no, I got, let's see, oh yeah, I got some rep items. I almost forget about the rep items. By the way, so like my absolute favorite swag from the anniversary, a new carry-all, right? Let me show you. Can you guess which carry-all I chose? I bet you can guess. What I've been complaining about? Oh, like, first of all, just check out my inventory, right? Like, bam. But, ooh, hang on, more presents? I got more presents. Those showed up since I last logged in. Holy cow. Okay. I got a whole nother batch of presents. But anyway, check out my new carry-all. Where'd it go? Where'd my new carry-all go? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, here it is. I moved it. Here it is, right? Oh, yeah. A sweet, sweet essence and tracery carry-all, right? Oh, man. Yeah, I got that in a giveaway. One of the anniversary giveaways. So happy with my new essence and tracery carry-all. Check it out. Look at all these traceries that I had picked up and everything. Look at all of that sweet inventory spots not being used, right? Oh man, so good. So good. And of course, my large crafting carry-all has already changed my life, you know, in like really important ways, like enabling me to squirrel things away to my heart's content. Task item carry-all, I was tempted, but see, I don't do tasks, so I always just ditch task items so they don't accumulate in my inventory. But essences and traceries, now the traceries were really starting to vex me. Unfortunately, I think I'm out of space. Oh, what's this one? A light weapon aura, huh? Okay. Sure, so hang on a second. What do I have to do to it? I think I already have it on. Weapon Aura of Orcsbane. I already have. What does this one do? Oh, it's the same thing. Can I put it on my other little weapon? Oh, look at that. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Wow, I got more stuff. What else did I get? First of all. Oh, those are only 50s? It's not great. No other rep things? For real? Okay. What else did I get? More VIP logon gifts. Okay, another tracery. Oh, right, but my new carry-all is full. That's okay. Look at all this stuff. Man, what did I get? Ooh, my Starlight Cloak. Hang on. Let's put that puppy on. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Cosmetically, here we go. What I'm wearing. Let's see it. Okay. Where do we go? Ooh, look at that. Oh, that is fancy. Yeah. What's this? Oh, Tome of the Chestnut Corgi. Okay. Okay. All right. Now, hang on. I gotta. I always forget. Where do I find my pets? Control C, collections. That's it. Okay. There he is. We all get corgis. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. I was standing on top of him. That's adorable. Okay. Now, me and my spangly new cloak and my cute new dog. Yeah, the cloak is totally glowing towards fire. Look at that. It's not only glowing, it's twinkling. You know how useful this is going to be? I'm going to wear this cloak forever. Can I still see it when I'm stealthed? Well, not so much. Still better than I could otherwise, though. Yeah, see, that's the filth I was seeing by the river. Let's clean that up. Oop, I'm almost done. So let me. So sorry for the thought, please. I keep threatening to answer your question and then not, which is rude. So let me try to do that. You were asking about the authority of the ancillary works of Tolkien, and this has been something people have been talking about a lot lately for good reasons. We were talking about the issue of canon as it applies to Tolkien in my Other Minds and Hands broadcast on Wednesday afternoon this past week, and I was talking about this. Here's the thing. There are some people who want to say, okay, Tolkien says some stuff in some of his other works that, like, obviously contradicts stuff that's in The Lord of the Rings or whatever, and you just kind of have to deal with this. Like, Tolkien's ideas were, evolving and developing over time, changed a lot, and it's super fun. Like, it's like so much fun to see Tolkien's ideas developing and like the new things he was thinking about and the old things he was thinking about, and to watch his creative process. It's just so much fun. But yeah, there's some of this. So a lot of people have been saying, should we consider like the published works canon, and then, the other things in the other books, like the nature of Middle-earth and the histories of Middle-earth and stuff, like he said that, but it's not as authoritative as, what he said in the published works. And I strongly disagree with that concept, with that idea. I don't think that, I seem to be, maybe there's some on the other shore. I'll tell you what, why don't I'm supposed to also, I'm supposed to also slay a bunch of Corsairs. Let me go and finish those up, and then I'll probably be able to find the rest of the Corsair filth a little bit more easily. They'll never notice me coming when I have this adorable puppy leaping at my heels. So anyway, I strongly dissent from the idea that you only, like, the published texts are very authoritative and the other works are less authoritative. And there's a really good reason for this. And that is the line between what got published and what didn't get published is a little bit artificial. And it certainly is not Tolkien's own choice. Take the Unfinished Tales stuff. Most of the stuff in Unfinished Tales was written, some of it was written after the fact when he was developing ideas further, but some of it was written for the appendix. Like, he wanted to include it. He was totally intending that it should be, but in the end it was getting so long he had to make hard choices and say, well, just like to make sure the published book doesn't end up being too long, you know, I'm gonna have to cut this and not include it. That's what the entire Road to Erebor is in that category. Like, he wrote all of that stuff, the entire backstory, you know, of The Hobbit, which is so much fun. He wrote all of that, intending for it to go in the appendix, but then it just got so long, he's like, oh, this is crazy, so I'm only just going to put a snippet in the appendix. So what does that mean? The stuff that he didn't include, that he cut for length, what did he not mean that as much, right? No, of course, like, he meant it just the same, right? You know, he wrote that, like, he wrote that, he liked that, he wanted to include it, but felt that he couldn't include it. So to merely say, well, that's an unfinished tale, and so therefore less authoritative than what's in the Lord of the Rings, totally arbitrary, right? But there's something even worse than that, I think. And the other thing is that why are some things in officially published works and other things are not? Who made that call? Most of the time, it's his publisher that made that call, right? And I am totally unwilling to say the people who can decide which of Tolkien's writings are authoritative and which are not is Allen and Unwin, you know, back from, like, you know, these London publishers. No, they do not have the right to decide which of Tolkien's thoughts are more authoritative than others. That's simply not okay. So that's why I strongly dissent from the idea that, you know, many people are suggesting nowadays, that really, like, all of that other stuff is secondary stuff. It's not secondary stuff. If Tolkien said it, then it's authoritative. I'm sorry. Right? Now, but there are two things that we have to keep in mind here. One is we have to keep in mind Tolkien did in fact change his mind. And honestly, I believe that a lot of the reason why oh, there's more filth down there. A lot of the reason why people are uneasy about it, a lot of the reason why people are talking this way now, is that they don't want to deal with the contradictions. People have been using that word too, which I think is absurd. It's not contradictions. It's the development of his thought over time, right? He's not just making mistakes. I'm not saying he never makes mistakes. Sometimes he makes mistakes, but they're not mistakes, right? They're not errors in the text. They're developments of his ideas. And that's cool. Like, that's awesome. That's fun. And really neat that's something that we can learn from, even if it's something that he rejected later on. It's still really interesting to learn and to see the direction that his mind had been going at that time. And that can really help to inform our understanding of how he thinks and how his world works. So that's one thing, is to keep in mind that, you know, saying if Tolkien wrote it, it's authoritative, you know, it means you have to make decisions. Right? It means that saying what Tolkien's vision of Middle-earth is, it's not clean, right? There's not a clean answer to that question, because Tolkien thought a lot of things at different times. And so we as readers have to kind of sift and make decisions. And again, one of the reasons I think that people don't like this idea is that a lot of the people, let me say this another way, a lot of the people who dislike this idea most are the people who are trying to diss the adaptations, right? People who really want to be on a high horse and say, that's not what Tolkien says. You're doing it wrong, right? When in fact, like, there are decisions that can be made. You can choose. So to cite a really big example, is Middle-earth, is it flat or round, right? Like in the Second Age, is it flat or round? And of course, the authoritative answer, according to the published text, is obviously it's flat, right? The world is made round at the time of the drowning of Numenor. Everybody knows that, right? And so therefore, should the Amazon series depict, should it depict the world as round, then you have the right to be outraged and call them idiots, right? And say that they don't know what they're talking about. But guess what? Tolkien also wrote a whole version of his legendarium that was where the world was round the whole time, right? He rejected that idea later in his life. Now, you're free to not like that and to prefer the flat Earth and the world made round version. I myself prefer the flat Earth and world made round version. I like it much better. I like his earlier idea better than his later idea, but it's still Tolkien's idea. And there is no real justification for but again, it's, you can't be on your high horse, to the same extent. So a lot of people, this is one of the primary reasons I see people trying to establish this. And as I say, I consider that a fairly disreputable reason for trying to establish a clear, authoritative canon of Tolkien's works, because then we can know what we can yell at each other about. And that's not okay. It's really not. I'm not saying everybody who's thinking that is thinking that for those reasons. But many people that I see thinking about that are thinking about that for those reasons. But here's the other factor, the other thing you have to keep in mind. So there are two factors to, drawing the conclusion, anything that Tolkien says is authoritative, right? One is you have to be prepared to deal with, the fact that, you have to be prepared to deal with the fact that there are going to be differing ideas that you have to sort and sift through. The other thing is that you need to take his cues. Some of the things that are published in Nature of Middle-earth, in the History of Middle-earth, are just him brainstorming, right? And he'll often, you can see him, Tolkien did this a lot, where he just writes out ideas, and is, he writes his way, he thinks through his ideas on paper. And it's so much fun when that happens, because we get the chance to see him inventing, in front of our eyes. We, again, just the night before last, we were looking at the last chapter of The Nature of Middle-earth. We were watching this. The idea of the Tomb of Elendil, we got to see it emerge, right? To read the passage where, to see how he kind of came around to that idea, and how the idea, which seems a strange idea, of the Tomb of Elendil being on the Halifirian, why would Isildur bury Elendil there, right? The answer to that question, how Tolkien came to that idea, we see that in the last chapter of The Nature of Middle-earth. So much fun, right? So much fun to see that happen. So whoa, is that a roving threat? I think it is. I think I'm not going close to that dude. Anyway, so anyway, the second thing that you have to do, in addition to being prepared to deal with his changing ideas over time and to be willing to think about that, you also have to be ready to take his own cues, right? Don't take it out of context, basically. Look at the context of the writing itself. Did he go back and change it? Did he take it out? Right? Those are things you need to take into account, when you're trying to decide, how to take something, or, what it means, what it tells us about Middle-earth. The other thing, I guess it's a third factor. The third factor is that you're going to have to be okay with the idea that there are not really so very many hard and fast answers as you think, or as you might want, about Middle-earth, about Tolkien. I answer a lot of questions, not today so much, but I answer a lot of questions about Tolkien, and generally I have been for a long time now. And, excuse me, guys, pardon me. But, increasingly, it's just almost every question has to be answered with it's complicated, right? Oh no, did I miss one? I missed the War Master. Oh, I'm sorry. This is me talking and not really paying attention. I thought I just had to do the snipers. quest objective populate after I did the snipers? I hate it when that happens. Okay. Well, go back and get him after I do this. Okay. All right. However, I'm going to stop here and not do this because I am out of time and I got to go get my kid who's going to be left standing on the curb. All right. So I'm going to have to stop here. I'll continue with a little bit of modest rep grinding. Hang on, let me see. Did I get any more rep items? Tell me I got more rep items. Yeah. Okay, a couple sashes. Ooh, a few scimitars. That's nice. Okay, so that'll help. Let's see. Every little is a gain, as they say in Minas Tirith. Oh, nice. 250s. Sweet. Okay. I'm still have a few thousand to go, I think, but we'll see where I stand at the end of this quest. At the end of this little round of quests. Okay, anyway, thanks guys for joining me. I am sorry to say that I'm going to be away for the next few weeks. I'm going to be traveling for the next 2 weeks, actually, so I won't be able to be back until Friday the 13th. I think it's the 13th. Yeah, I'll be gone on the next week and then again on the 6th. So I'll be back in a couple weeks. And look forward to get Gryfflet will definitely finish up Dora and Aranil, right? Just a few things, hopefully, to get done there. Finish up the maybe a little casual rep grinding. If I'm doing some rep grinding, we can do more lore talks, right? So that'll be fine. And then we'll move on to Lebanon, right, as we continue our march, ultimately getting towards Pelargir, which is great. So thanks very much for joining me, everybody. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate the time. Thanks to the Lotro channel for having me, as always. Appreciate that. And I will see you guys in a few weeks. Thanks. Bye now. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.